Merci Laurent. Good morning, everybody. So, dear Stéphane, dear Andrea, dear colleagues, welcome to Inria, the National French Institute for Computer Science and Applied Mathematics. You're here at the historical headquarters of Inria in Roconcourt. That's really a pleasure to welcome this French-German event dedicated to AI. Inria, as this has been mentioned by Stéphane, actually coordinates the French AI strategy next to the French minister in charge of higher education and research, under the umbrella, under the supervision of Renaud Vedel, who is in charge of the whole French AI strategy. And that's really a pleasure for us to welcome you and to be one part of these reinforcements of the French-German strategy in AI, which is a key issue for France and for Inria as well. Both countries, as this has been said by Andrea before, have launched an ambitious AI strategy a few years ago, which is quite logical as far as the issues related to AI are concerned. And in spring 2020, this has been mentioned by Andrea Seifert, both countries have signed a joint agreement with the former ministries in charge of these fields, namely Anja Karliczek for Germany and Frédéric Vidal for France. And Inria has played an instrumental role in let's say, in the elaboration of this agreement, with three key ambitions. This has been already said. First, to build a joint ecosystem for AI, including research organizations, key universities, new federative structures, namely the so-called 3IA, 3IA, and the other federative structures in France, and the excellence centers and DFKI in Germany. And another ambition was to be able to reinforce the bilateral partnerships between existing structures, between existing organizations. That's why, as far as Inria is concerned, we have concluded, dear Philippe, a strategic agreement, a strategic partnership between Inria and the FTI in January 2020. And to be able, so the third dimension of this joint agreement, to be able to launch joint initiatives at the European level and at the international level. So, for instance, in Europe, this has something to do, with the launch of the so-called CLAIR network and ELIS network, where both countries, France and Germany, play a key role. And at the international level, both countries are involved in the development of the so-called GEPI, General Partnership on AI Initiative, whose European Expertise Center, the so-called Paris Center, is operated by Inria in France. And this has been said next week, as a follow-up of the previous calls, there is a new call, and I think that this is very interesting to see that there is a new paradigm in order to be able to fund both projects at, let's say, a small scale, so to speak, but also programs between existing organizations. And I want to thank both the French National Agency for Research, ANR, and DLR for this, let's say, for this evolution in their funding tools. I want to conclude only with one remark. We have key issues in front of us. Some of them have been recalled by both by Stéphane and by Andrea. I think that most of them are related to what we call tech sovereignty of Europe. I know that this is a difficult question for academia, for academic colleagues, because, okay, leading actors are the key tech companies. We are companies of USA, we are Chinese, which are Chinese companies. This is quite difficult because our colleagues could be, let's say, in these companies, so this is quite difficult to handle this question of tech sovereignty. But I think that this is very important because we have to be coherent in Europe. Europe has put on the table a legal framework, for instance, with the so-called DSA, DMA directives. There is the new coming AI Act. There are structuring initiatives embedding both industry and academia in Europe in order to build this tech sovereignty. There are new innovation policies in order to foster, in order to promote this European tech sovereignty. For instance, I am a member of the board of the so-called European Innovation Council, which is the tool of Europe for that. And tech sovereignty and AI is at the core of the policy of EIC. So this should also have some consequences in our research roadmap. And that's why this is very important to be able to reinforce the French-German partnership in AI, on AI. And that's why such an event is very important. So have a nice day.